Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about Pallas in Sagittarius in a natal chart. Now, when we're talking about Pallas in astrology, it can be associated and connected with how one may solve dilemmas and issues. Now, the thing about this is being that it's in Sagittarius, one may solve dilemmas perhaps through higher education or knowledge of it. Could be religion, philosophy. It could be through the fine art of publishing. It could be such as, for example, publishing something to expose someone's nefarious behavior. It could be where one may solve issues just through their expansiveness, their being that incorrigible optimist and trying to you're really just having a very strong positive attitude, the power and positive thinking, and maybe even through sports or the outdoors. I mean, we wonder, well, what does that have to do with solving any kind of dilemma or problem? Well, I mean, if somebody's got figured, cabin fever or something where sports can be an outlet for people that are exasperated or have or dealing with certain frustrations in life. It could be combative sports, could be good for people releasing aggression, as example. And the outdoors, of course, can be very healthy, and I do believe outdoors at times can promote like mental health, for example. So anyway, and also, if the person is solving this, it's always good. I mean, being in Sagittarius especially, that they're not around, despondent or melancholy people, that they're around positive people as well. So anyway, now Pallas in astrology can also be connected with the perceived relationship one may have with the dad or father. Now, given that this is in Sagittarius, one may see that relationship with their dad or father as one that's very light. It may be filled with a lot of humor. It might be humorous, but one where one would speak the veritable truth, a lot of blunt energy, and can be where nobody really, neither person would hold back. One that was full of jocularity, though. It might even be something where you might have pulled some practical jokes on each other, or something where you just had a lot of humor and there was a lot of light and effervescent energy that is connected with it, or had been connected with it, depending on whether the father, of course, is deceased or he is still alive. So anyway, and maybe one and you might have enjoyed a lot of outdoor activities together as well, in philosophy. Anyway, well, as far as Pallas goes, it also can be associated with the attention on concepts. And given that this is Sagittarius energy, it can be where one might focus a lot of attention on very broad concepts, and could be concepts that are associated with religion, abstract thinking outside of the box, and even sports. I mean, it could be something where you maybe have a person that might have certain pioneering ideas, innovative ideas that are associated with sports, like the person that came up with those robot umpires. Or I think they even had like electronic base paths, or at least had the idea was out there for that. And also, there may be focus on concepts associated with traveling abroad, foreigners, and the law as well, and even matters, and even ideas and concepts with publishing. Pallas in astrology can also be associated with disputes. Now, given that this is Sagittarius energy, one may have this person may be there might be frequently embroiled in arguments connected with the law. It could be over religious matters. It can be over philosophical differences, and a lot of this, I mean, philosophical differences with who, in the law would be a lot of that, of course, predicated in terms of with who you're going to have those arguments with on the house, that as far as the house it is in one's chart. If it's in, say, the seventh house in one's natal chart, it can be philosophical differences one may experience in connection with a marriage partner, significant other, or important relationships that the person may be involved in. Say if it's in the third, it can be with perhaps siblings, cousins, neighbors, or even people that may have been prominent in your early education, like classmates or even teachers you may have known from that era. Now, and also there may be some issues and arguments associated just with this being about being truthful, about veracity. It can be with foreigners as well, or over foreigners, or even matters connected with college. It could be with collegiate associates, so to speak, people that may be classmates of yours in higher education, or even sports arguments. Now, many people may be embroiled in sports excuse me, in sports arguments regardless of placements in their chart, but it might be more pronounced and emphasized with this placement as opposed to many others in astrology. Now, also too, well, Pallas in astrology can be also associated with debilitations that may be attributed to a depleted or diminished immune system. Now, given that we're talking about energy as far as a Sagittarius goes, now there may be something connected with the liver in some cases, because that's associated with Sagittarius, or at least whether it's a debilitation of the liver attributed to a depleted immune system, or there's just simply a correlation between the depleted, diminished immune system and liver issues one way or another, which if that is possible, though that is one example. Also too, when you're looking at Pallas in astrology, it can be associated with art interests. It can be connected. Given that it's Sagittarius, it might be connected with horses. Might be a person that might be enamored with horse paintings, or any kind of sports artwork, whether it could be legendary athletes of the past, or stadiums, or what have you, something sports related, or even religious depictions in some cases, or even abstract art. Sagittarius, of course, in astrology is associated with the 9th house, abstract thinking, so I would think there could be a very strong interest. Their person may be enamored with abstract art as an example. So anyway, now where Pallas is in a natal chart can be associated with tough choices one may make in conjunction with one's relationships that are male, and given that this is Sagittarius energy, it can be done perhaps with a lot of candidness, a lot of blunt, tactless energy, speaking with a lot of veracity and fear, and being fearless in the process as well. And it may be done, in some cases these decisions may be foolhardy as well, so just be careful with this placement, because Sagittarius, of course, can be very reckless energy and negative manifestation, and a lot of this, whether those decisions are made that way, a lot of that could be predicated on aspects this makes to points in your chart. Let's say if this makes an adverse aspect to your natal Mercury, as an example, it could really be reinforce that kind of thinking in terms of maybe foolhardy thinking in connection with those matters, because of course Mercury is connected with the mind and thinking. So, or even if it makes an adverse aspect to your natal 3rd house cusp in your chart. So anyway, now another thing is that as far as Pallas goes in astrology, it can be associated with the strategy one may use or employ to traverse uncharted territory. Now, given that this is Sagittarius, this may be associated just simply by being very positive, by being very expansive and optimistic. It's the power of positive thinking, And also, I think it's important also for the person to be associated with people that are positive and ones that aren't overly pessimistic or despondent or melancholy or what have you, because this will really help this person a long way, I believe, in terms of having auspicious outcomes, in terms of going to places that they have environments that are uncharted to them. So, and also it can be connected, the strategies as well may be associated with just having goodwill, philanthropy, showing that benevolence in that area that you're in, that goodwill, and that luck can actually come to you in terms of having a better outcome in these areas or regions you may go. Now, also, Pallas in astrology can be connected with kidney issues. It is connected with the kidneys, so presumably there can be kidney issues, I would say, that can be associated perhaps with the sign that Pallas is in. Now, the way I say it, it can be attributed, these kidney issues, if one has them, may be attributed to perhaps reckless, foolhardy eating. It could be just like not taking the right precautions, like if somebody's eating a high sodium content diet, and, Sagittarius can be connected with sports, so it can be like, I would say, one of those, like those couch potato type, what I call couch potato diets, when people be watching sports on TV and they're eating, like all that pizza and that high sodium, food. So it's really important to really take the precautions as far as that goes, and especially there could be health related issues associated with this. What I describe, especially say if this is in the first or sixth house in one's natal chart. Sixth house, of course, is associated with physical health. First house is the physical body, and if this is making an adverse aspect, say to the sun, to the ascendant, or even Mars, that could even increase that propensity for that, I would say. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for my take on Pallas in Sagittarius in astrology and in a natal chart. And stay tuned next time, where I'll be talking about Pallas and Capricorn in natal chart. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.